pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Stacy, can you roll call, please?
Counselor, here. Pittsburgh. Here. Bankin.
Here.
Gilmore.
Here.
Kleinhardt.
Here.
Ambrositis.
Here.
Copeland.
Here.
Majeski.
Here.
Pascal.
Here. Okay, on the agenda. Under prosecutor C. Under the first motion, we have another motion to add. And it's going to be to approve the hiring of a criminal analyst to be covered 100% by the DOJ grant for the duration of the grant. Underneath that one,
And that'll be roll call.
that'll be roll call. So with the changes, can I get approval of the amended?
I'll make the motion that we approve the agenda, with the changes.
I'll second.
What's that second? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we have an amendment to the commissioner minutes from October 18th.
Yes, the October 18th minute, under the treasurer's report, the very last line says that treasurer Beamer Singer was also pleased to report that the Veterans Freedom Park loan is not paid off. It is, I just added the word not, so, they will be amended to just strike the word not.
Zach, can I get a motion to approve the minutes from the October 18th and November 1st meeting?
Can we fix the spelling on page 1 of public hearings at the bottom, please?
Page,
1, bottom, public hearing, special presentation.
yes,
And also with those changes. Well, you got second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Alright. General public comment. I put those minutes on that, you know. No general public comment, all right. Any questions or comments on the communications list? If not, Sarah, you're up.
fast.
Yeah. So yeah, I have a handout that I will get to you. Sure, and be great. It looks like I might be short a little bit on 20 minutes. Let's see if I've got some others. Yeah, here's some more.
Thank you.
All right, while those are making their way around, I'll introduce myself. I'm Brian Crockett. I'm the executive director for Community Mental Health for Central Michigan. And I see Sarah Naselli, your program director here in Clare County. I would just like to spend a few moments giving you an update of activities with community mental health. We are a 6-county governmental authority. We're established by the Michigan Mental Health Code. We are governed by a 14-member board of directors, made up of commissioners, made up of county representatives, community representatives, as well as individuals who receive our services. I'd like to thank Commissioner Gilmore for his participation on our board. In addition to Clare County, the counties that we serve include Gladwin, Isabella, Mecosta, Midland, and Osceola counties. I'd just like to thank you for your strong partnership to serve the individuals in our community. CMH provides a wide array of evidence-based services to children with serious emotional disturbance, adults with serious and persistent mental illness, individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities, and individuals with co-occurring substance use disorders. Our vision is communities where all individuals experience healthy and meaningful lives. CMH professionals provide individual and group outpatient treatment services, home-based services in support of the whole family. And case management services, allowing individuals to live in their communities. We provide 24-hour community crisis supports, along with a wide array of other services across the continuum of care. Last year, CMH in total served about 10,700 individuals. For an unduplicated count, at any point in time, we're serving about 53 to 5,500 individuals. That includes about 1,200 children. Approximately 1,500 individuals receive services here in Clare County. Across the 6 counties, our funding supports nearly 2,500 jobs. This is serving some of the most vulnerable citizens of our community. Of those positions, CMH directly employs about 445 staff. About 44 of those are employed right here in Clare County. The remainder are about 2,000 part-time and full-time workers employed by contracted providers. Those working in adult foster care homes or just helping individuals with activities of daily living in their own homes or their apartments. Really, again, designed to help individuals be as independent as they possibly can in need of those kinds of supports. It includes skill building services, service that we call community living support, or supported employment services as well. We are accredited by the Joint Commission. That's a national accrediting body for healthcare organizations. We've held that accreditation continually since 1996. In fact, we just had our latest triennial on-site review this past September. There was an unannounced, quote unquote, unannounced visit. They give us about a week notice when they're going to be on site. And as in previous years, we've a number of areas of improvement identified that we are addressing. Our budget for fiscal year 2024 in total is $152 million. Allocated to Clare County is $18 million. Most of that funded by Medicaid. About 93% of our revenue is from Medicaid. That's, of course, a federal and state partnership in those dollars. Clare County contributes about $139,000, a fixed amount that has remained the same since 1997. I'd like to thank you for your support there. The agency has been working on its strategic plan. We have a 3-year strategic plan cycle, and we're beginning a fresh set on that. It will be from fiscal year 24, 25, and 26. We conducted a pretty robust needs assessment from many various stakeholders. Some of the areas that are priority, of course, access to service is high on the list. Just being able to help individuals who are in need really receive the services that we believe really will help individuals, again, to be healthy, to be productive in their lives and independent. Operational and fiscal sustainability, another priority area of need. Maintaining a highly specialized workforce. We're really facing as many, especially in healthcare, workforce shortages. That continues to be very much a challenge, especially with the direct care workforce. As I mentioned, those individuals who are working in adult foster care settings or just helping individuals in their own home settings to take care of their daily needs and support. Again, I'd like to thank you for your partnership as we really strive to help all individuals in our community, especially vulnerable folks that are facing various challenges. And I'd like to turn it over to Sarah to talk more specifically about activities for Clare County. Thank you.
You're excited about what are we doing here in Clare County? Brian mentioned the number of people we serve, and in case you're wondering, the largest population that we serve here in Clare County is adults who fall under the category of having a severe or persistent mental illness. The second largest population that we serve in Clare are children who fall into the category of a severe emotional disturbance. And so those are the biggest, if you look at the pie of people we serve, that takes up the biggest chunk of the pie. And then adults and children with intellectual and developmental disabilities are the smaller pieces of the pie. So look at our makeup. We really work very hard to coordinate and collaborate with our other human services community partners. And because of that, we table at events as much as we can out in the community to get the word out there, to provide psychoeducation about mental health and mental health services, who's appropriate for our services, get people connected where they need to be connected. In part of that partnership, we also often offer trainings to our community partners. And in this past year, we've done trainings for DHHS on de-escalation, because they were struggling a bit with that when it comes to the children and the families they work with. And what it allowed was a real opportunity not only to practice those types of skills, but it gave our DHHS staff a place and a space to process how those situations feel for them when they are out in the homes and things are happening. And it's ended up being a very productive discussion for them, because they don't get a lot of spaces to process things like that. And so they were really able to talk about that, and it made them feel better about the work that they're doing. I am super excited, and the bulk of my discussion is going to be about the grant that we received this past year for Clare and Gladwin counties for family stabilization programming. Clare and Gladwin were identified because we had the highest number of children and families in crisis, which is why, as an agency, we targeted these communities, and we did receive the grant. In this program, we're able to respond to children and family systems experiencing any sort of mental health crisis. I keep using the metaphor, well, it allows us to be way more proactive than we've ever been before, which is amazing. I keep using the metaphor of we can get involved with this program with families when they start to see the smoke, rather than having to wait until the house is on fire. We can get involved when there's smoke to try to prevent the house from starting on fire and to help the family stabilize. The grant also came with the opportunity to complete a community survey. You may or may not have taken part of that. We sent it out far and wide to really assess our community providers and parental understanding of what does a mental health crisis look like? What is their understanding of the services that are available? Do they even know what follow-up services are available after that? What we found out by far is that there really is a lack of mental health literacy in the community, of understanding what a mental health crisis might be for a child and a family, how to access the services, and then what services are available post-crisis. What also makes this program unique, that is different than anything that I know of that's happening in the state, because they keep asking us about what we're doing, is that we really not only focus on the crisis, but the stabilization, meaning our staff stay involved until basically the things have settled down. They've either connected families to ongoing resources that they may need, they've helped them attend, maybe meetings with schools if there are lots of issues going on at school, but really we're providing that post-intervention service to really try to keep the family stabilized. It's also, families can continue to access the program for as long as needed. It's not a like, we serve you once this year, we can't serve you again. If your family ends up in that situation again, then we'll help you with that. Part of what also makes this program unique is that it's available to any family or child in the community. So they don't have to be a Medicaid recipient. They don't have to end up qualifying for CMH services. It's a community benefit because it's available to anyone. We've done presentations with our DHHSs, our schools, our physicians groups, some human service leaderships collaboratives, and law enforcement is coming next on my list. It's a lot of people to present to. They are next on my list. As part of what we're also looking at with them is the ability to co-respond, meaning to go out together, because often we need to work together in these situations for families. So if school, for example, is the person that has the relationship with the child or the family, they can talk to them about this program, maybe introduce us, maybe we meet with the family all together, and then we'll take over from there. But it allows for that warm handoff that we hope allows the program to be more successful versus us just cold calling someone and saying, hey, we heard you were struggling. People don't tend to like that very much. And in the age of caller ID, people don't tend to answer the phone when they don't know who's calling. We will do that, but it's just not as effective. We've already seen some great successes in connecting with families, getting families to engage in services. My staff will go out. They will take the technology to help the family get set up for services right while they're there in their home. They'll help watch the other little kids so the parent can focus on, getting some of those pieces to get their case open done, and then we're able to give them these services. Also, part of what we really saw in our data was that we miss a lot of opportunities for those smokers, that families don't necessarily identify, my child has a lot of tantrums and I don't know how to manage that, or I can't get my child to consistently go to school, or I can't get them to bed, as potential opportunities and places in which we could intervene versus waiting until people very clearly can identify if my child is a risk of harm to himself or others. That is a mental health crisis. but it misses all those earlier on opportunities. So also part of what we're attempting to do is really provide some education that those are great opportunities to engage with children and families to hopefully prevent them from getting over here. In Clare County, we still provide the school mental health professionals in 2 of the Harrison schools and all of the Barwick schools. After a period of time, unfortunately, being unstaffed, we again have staff working out of the Clare and Gladwin County jails to provide support to those that are incarcerated. We're running groups right now targeted at how do you change the thinking of those that have been arrested, and we also assist with helping inmates set up needed services when they're discharged from the jail, whether that be mental health, substance abuse, whatever's needed. As a final exciting note, I'm super excited to share about the community bingo game that one of my staff was able to help get started. One of my staff members worked at the Lions Club, sorry, I have to read it so I get it right, to create a bingo event that is designed for people with intellectual and developmental disabilities. The pace of the calling of the numbers is slowed down as an accommodation. The Lions Club was able to secure volunteers to help people be able to read their cards and make their markers. A lunch can be purchased or it can be brought. The prizes are pretty small because we try to keep it as low cost as possible, but this event is also open to the public and everyone can come and play at that exact same cost. This has really created an amazing opportunity for an adult, community inclusive social event that is lots of fun and they're seeing lots of success in people. So I'm really proud of us getting that started.
Great.
Any questions?
Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much.
Well. Yes, I have a report.
I don't know if you want me on the next one.
Purchase of a 2018 GMC Terrain in the amount of $24,982.99. Funds to come from the animal control fund.
Thank you.
Any discussion, we discussed this, the L meeting roll call.
Counselor,
Yes.
Fitchburg. Yes. Bacon,
Yes.
Gilmore,
Yes.
Hopefully,
Yes.
Majeski.
Yes.
Ambrositis,
Yes.
Kleinhardt,
Yes.
Haskell.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay.
You're gonna have to sit up here after all.
The sheriff motion,
Of course, motion to approve a lease agreement with Leasing Specialists LLC for fully equipped patrol vehicles not to exceed $200,000.
second,
Second.
any further discussion?
I have a question. How are we paying for this again? It was said that it's coming out of the fund balance.
The fund balance. So what we did was, we didn't have it budgeted for because we didn't know how much it would be. So we took that, it was like $400,000 to $500,000 more that we projected in revenue coming in than what we had going out. So I talked with Jeff about it. We just took the money, the over money of revenue and put it into the fund balance to balance the budget. So that's what we did. And we talked about that when we had our, budget hearing.
I think that the sheriff's department needs new vehicles. That I accept that and I want them to get new vehicles. I think that the process that we're utilizing to pay for the vehicles is a little bit wrong. So in the previous budget in 2023, there was an actual capital outlay request for 2 vans and 3 vehicles, 3 patrol vehicles. In the budget that we adopted on the 29th of September, there was no such capital outlay request.
Correct.
There are line items in both the sheriff's department budget and in the secondary road patrol for new vehicles, and both of those had nothing in it. Or very
We didn't know
little.
what the amount was gonna be, we didn't know what it was. We couldn't get vehicles, I don't know if you remember when they were in here talking, we couldn't get vehicles for over a year, so there was no idea of how that was gonna come down.
Understood, but it was never even populated in the budget that, hey, we need vehicles.
No,
The capital outlay wasn't part of the budget.
that
this
is
year.
correct.
And so we didn't have any visibility on vehicles that they needed to purchase until the sheriff came to the committee of the whole last week. So after looking at the budgets for the last 2 years and all the expenditures, I'm just a little confused why that wasn't 42 days ago brought up to this board.
In the past, we've done that, as far as balancing the budget and stuff like that. That's a process we've exercised before in the past with budgets. So it's not anything brand new, or it's not anything that we're trying to sneak by. or
Well,
anything.
I'm not saying anybody's trying to sneak it by me, it's
It's just
quite overt
done before.
that we have a need for sheriff's department vehicles, I agree. But didn't you tell me that we needed the fund balance to be at 35% as per the treasurer's recommendation?
No, that's what she wanted.
I thought that was the goal that
I
we're
mean,
trying to get
it
to,
was, I mean, that's always a goal to increase the fund balance.
and that we have a MERS deficit in the future that we're looking at having the fund,
Yeah,
and that's
we're
why we
planning
wanted to
for
get
that.
the fund balance up?
Yeah,
Okay. So according to what, another question I have is the jail commissary fund, what is that fund used for?
for things that go on in jail.
Okay. So I sit on the finance committee with Commissioner Hauser and Commissioner Haskell. I have seen that we have paid for jail renovations and jail repairs through the general fund. So is the jail commissary fund supposed to come into the general fund to reimburse us? for this?
It does, we budget with, revenue from the jail commissary fund into the general fund.
Okay,
We do it every year.
so then we could use the jail commissary fund to pay for the patrol cars that we have.
Well, potentially we could, but.
Because the jail commissary fund, as per the treasurer's last report to us a week ago, says that there's almost $391,000 sitting in that fund.
Yeah.
So my question is, why are we using
Well,
the fund balance when we have money sitting aside?
because what we did was, it wasn't actually what was left over, fund balance. It was, this is what we have projected coming in, which that's $14 million. And we're projecting 13.5 going out. So we have more coming in. We don't know what some of these costs are gonna be to put in, so I'm gonna take that and put it in the ending fund balance for expenditures. So that it'll balance the budget, so we can take that out when we know what these costs are gonna be.
I have a question.
Yes,
Didn't we already approve the purchase of vehicles that they were unable to purchase because they weren't available? Didn't we approve the purchase?
There were two vehicles, I remember Bailey saying something about, it had to cancel them because they couldn't get them.
Because they couldn't
they
get
were
it.
approved last,
They were approved to be purchased. but they
yeah,
weren't
they were
available.
approved last year, but they couldn't get them. They hadn't been able to get
So
them.
are two of these four that they're purchasing now part of that, what George just mentioned?
To replace the same vehicles, yes.
You mean two of them? What did you say?
What George just said that we already approved the purchase of two that they never purchased.
They tried, but they weren't available.
Right, that's what Lieutenant David said.
Right.
Was that they couldn't get them in because of availability, so he canceled that order, and they were just going to get them under this program here.
And then they also had vehicles on order for a year, but now those aren't even being made through Ford, so they had to go through somewhere else. So it was up in the air. We didn't know if they were gonna get patrol vehicles this year or not, but then Lieutenant Bailey found them.
So why aren't they putting this into their budget every year to replace vehicles? Why is it always a surprise?
Well, it's not always a surprise, but
It was to me last week.
under the circumstances of how, like they explained when they were here, when they couldn't get the vehicles, and then they got approved for vehicles, and then they couldn't get the vehicles again. It just is and then ended up getting them right away. It was just kind of the perfect storm. However, when the budget was put together, like I said, there was more revenue projected coming in than going out. So instead of placing it in a line, well, I did. I placed it in the ending fund balance. So the only thing I would have to do is go in and do a budget adjustment from the ending fund balance and put it into the capital
I
outlay.
was not aware of that. I was not aware that at ending fund balance, we would purchase patrol vehicles this new fiscal year. So maybe I missed that, but I did not know that.
And that's
Like the
just
last
the ending fund balance for what would be coming in for this year. Because just for what projected coming in this year and projected that's going out this year, there is between $400,000 and $500,000 difference.
There's no capital outlay. As there was last time. Last year there was capital improvement. But we didn't even put it in our budget, purchase. Like we did the previous year. That's all I'm saying.
Where do we wanna go from here? I was under the understanding that the reason it was brought up as an urgency is because they finally found vehicles.
Right.
That was my understanding of this thing.
And I have no
No, and I
No
understand.
problem with finding the vehicles,
You're-
getting the vehicles, because I know the sheriff's
We're
department.
just questioning why wasn't it in the budget?
Wasn't in the budget, and then how are we paying for this when there's other requirements for that same money? As well as there's almost 400,000 sitting in the jail commissary fund.
Which,
You know what, perhaps
I
we
don't
should have
understand.
perhaps we should have this conversation with the department here. Maybe we should have the sheriff's department come instead of having this conversation with
Well, the
them.
motion's on the floor.
Motion's on the
So, motion's on the floor.
in my opinion, I feel we need to vote on this motion just because if we don't, we wait another month, then vehicles might not be.
You're not gonna have it.
Yeah.
That's my opinion. And then also I feel that maybe at our next meeting, we should have the sheriff's department come in and explain to us about the commissary fund and how that could be, if it could be used, we could still replace it into the fund balance if it's not earmarked for something else. Yes, Jack.
I think you'll find the commissary fund is to be used for things in the jail. And that's why I think it comes from the inmates,
It
doesn't it?
does.
And we've had the discussion through the years about money and it gets built up. It's to replace washers, dryers, things that go bad over there.
And the sheriff's
I-
department is real good about, taking that money from the 595 and then putting it into the general fund. Because those things are taken out of capital outlay, because they have to be taken out of capital outlay. But the sheriff's department has been great about, okay, can we take $145,000 out of commissary, put it into the general fund? Because it goes into the general fund and then has to come out of the capital.
Well, through
So
the years,
they've done that.
we've had the discussion about the commissary fund getting bigger and bigger and what we can do with it. Well, it still has to be, if there's a need over there, that has to be taken care of first.
Right.
That's what it's for. So, you know, they had ordered the cars, they just couldn't get them. If it was in their budget and it didn't get used for a car, they couldn't get a car. We always worried in the past about budgets that didn't get spent, getting diverted into other things. So I think it was the wise move to put it back into the fund balance
I thought so.
and to keep it there, and now we need it. So,
Oh, your budget's living, breathing document that's gonna change, always change.
It does.
So we gotta keep that in mind also.
Right.
But I can see Gabe's thing, this probably should have been forecasted, but going on, we need to vote on this, and move on, correct it for the next time.
It's not just 4 vehicles, because sheriff also mentioned there's gonna be 4 in the spring. So again, that's something that was not on my radar.
Yeah, it is concerning, future we might want to make, at least a note of it in budget. And when, financial aspect.
We need to proceed with what's on the floor first.
yeah.
Okay. We did have a second, didn't
We
Yeah,
did.
this was the discussion. Yeah.
we? Roll call.
Copeland,
Yes.
Majewski.
Yeah.
Hausler. Yes. Gilmore,
Yes.
Fitchburg. Yeah. Bankin,
Yes,
Steinhardt,
Yes,
Ambrositis,
No,
Hassel.
Yes. Matthew, you take The prosecutor's motion, please.
Motion to accept the grant from the U.S. Department of Justice, Office of Justice Children, fiscal year 2023, rural and small department violent crime and domestic violence act in the amount of $300,000 and allow the prosecutor to fulfill the grant requirements under the award condition.
Second.
Got a motion, got a second?
Could we hear what those requirements are that we're fulfilling? I didn't know anything about this until I read it in the newspaper. I was surprised we hadn't seen it come across a board meeting prior to this.
Do we know what the requirements are?
I can send you the grant agreement, but I did read it last night.
Michelle, do you know what the requirements are?
Same requirements of all of our other grants. We applied for for the grant to address violent crime that is here in the county. It dovetails onto the prior two grants that we had from the federal government, the 2018 opioid grant and the 2022 violent crimes, or the 2020 violent crimes grant. So what this one will do, we'll add a criminal analyst to the office. The purpose of the criminal analyst is for them to take not only all of the data that we gathered through the 2018 grant and the data that we're gathering through the 2020 grant, but they will continue to build on that data to focus on hotspots for crimes, to maybe come up with different law enforcement strategies for those areas to reduce violent crime in the community. They will also review cell phone downloads and look at the data there and help analyze that, cell phone records, text messages, those types of things, the digital evidence that comes into our office. They will be able to redact the body worn camera footage that we receive. And ideally, they will redact all of the personally identifying information out of that video before it goes out in discovery. Because we are supposed to be doing that, we just don't have the staffing to do so, so hopefully they will be able to work on that as well. And they will also help do the redactions and build the dynamic exhibits that you would use during a trial or in court for these cases. And so that is what the person would be doing for the 3 years that they are there.
That meets the requirements of the grant.
Correct.
Is there a reason why we didn't hear about this earlier? And then it was published in the newspaper, is how we heard about it?
I followed practice from the 2020 grant, and Ms. Phelps was aware that we were applying for it. She helped us with the application process and reviewing the budget before we submitted it. So it just didn't occur to me to tell you.
I was just surprised to read that we'd already accepted it. So,
I did what I did with the 2020 grant, which is accept it and move forward with it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
We got a motion, we got a second. Roll call.
Pittsburgh,
Yes.
Hauser,
Yes.
Gilmore,
yes.
Bankin,
Yes.
Ambrositis,
Yes.
Reinhardt,
Yes.
Hopeling,
Yes.
Majeski, Pascal.
Yes. I guess I'll make the next motion since I got a bunch of chicken scratch here, so. Make a motion to approve the hiring of a criminal analyst to be covered 100% by the DOJ grant for the duration of the grant.
Second.
Got a motion, got a second, that's just, we accepted the grant and part of the condition is to hire somebody.
Mhm.
So is there any discussion on that?
So that will cover the fringe benefits, mileage.
Everything.
Yeah, everything.
Okay. Okay, roll call please.
Hauser,
Yes.
Pittsburgh,
Yes.
Bankin,
Yes.
Gilmore,
Yes.
Reinhardt,
Yes.
Ambrositis,
Yes.
Hopeling,
Yes.
Majeski,
Yes.
Pascal.
Yeah. Yes. Bill, you take the DHS, sure.
DHS to reappoint Ellen Couchman to the Department of Health and Human Services Board of Directors for the term ending 9/30/2020.
Motion, we got a second, roll call please.
Sorry, movement on that, the Dale was the first and,
David.
David, okay. Majeski.
Yeah.
Hauser.
Yes.
Steinhardt.
yes,
Amberseitis.
Yes.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Fitchburg. Yes. Bankin.
yes,
Gilmore.
Yes.
Haskell.
Yes. Okay. Dave, you take statutory finance. please?
Make a motion to approve statutory finance committee meeting minutes of October 16, 2023, in the amount of $164,061.44, and the minutes of the October 30th, 2023 meeting in the amount of $78,816.55.
Okay, we got a motion, we have a second.
Second.
Second, roll call, please.
Amberseitis.
Yes.
Hopefully.
Yes.
Majeski.
Yes.
Hauser. Yes. Bankin.
yes,
Fitchburg. Yes. Gilmore.
Yes.
Steinhardt.
yes,
Haskell.
Yes. George? take
Okay,
it.
I move to approve the expenditures for the month of October 2023 in the amount of $6,584,070.76, with the general fund expenditures totaling $1,755,494.38.
I'll second.
Motion, you got a second? Roll call, please.
Gilmore.
Yes.
Steinhardt.
yes,
Amberseitis.
Yes.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Majeski.
Here.
Hauser.
Yes.
Fitchburg. Yes. Bankin.
yes,
Haskell.
Yes. Jack? Okay.
I move to approve budget adjustments 24/7, 24/8, 24/11 in the amount of $1,379,745, $73,000, $150,994 to be distributed.
Roll call, please.
Steinhardt.
Yes,
Amberseitis.
Yes.
Hopefully.
Yes.
Majeski.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh. Yes. Hauser.
Yes.
Gilmore.
Yes.
Bankin.
yes.
Haskell.
Yes. Richie, take the.
Motion to approve and adopt resolution 24-1, opposing any legislation preempting local control for solar and wind developments.
Second.
You got a second? Any discussion?
They already passed this, didn't they?
I think it's already passed.
Oh, I haven't gone to sign.
It's, yeah, it's in the FedEx, there's 3 days left.
Okay.
Roll call, please.
Bankin.
Yes,
Gilmore.
Yes.
Steinhardt.
Yes,
Amberseitis.
Yes.
Hopefully.
Yes.
Majeski.
Yes.
Hauser. Yes. Pittsburgh. Yes. Haskell.
Yeah. Did you got anything for us?
We had an election yesterday. It consisted of a clear public school bond proposal and also a recall for Reading Township. We were here until about 11:45 last night, taking those things in. And today Lori is obviously not here because we begin Canvas today. So she's prepping for Canvas, which I believe starts at 1 o'clock today. We are going to be starting programming for the February election on Monday. So we finish Canvas on Thursday, we get a nice little holiday, and then we start programming for the February election. We are gonna be in overdrive, from now through February, just prepping and planning for the 9 days of early voting, which is going to be instituted at our first election. And the busy year of 2024 ahead of us for elections, along with all the other stuff. That's it.
Thank you.
what was the results of this school bond?
The school bond results, give me just a second, I actually had them pulled up because I was quite confident somebody would ask.
Okay,
Clare Public Schools, bond proposal was 1,045 no to 579 yes.
And
The Reading Township? Reading Township, right now, Reading Township has, had write-in, they had 3 positions, 2 trustee positions and the supervisors that were recalled. So the votes are in for the person on the ballot, and there were also valid write-in candidates. Board of Canvas will actually review the write-in candidates today. As of right now, the supervisor, Scarborough got 52 votes, write-ins got 70. Trustee Scarborough got 55 votes, and the write-in candidate got 69. And then, the other trustee McGlashan got 53 votes, and the write-in candidates got 70. So right now, in all three races, the write-ins have more votes, but it'll be up to Board of Canvassers to determine that the tallied write-ins that were provided by the county or the townships are all valid write-ins, for the for those positions. And then once canvass is complete, that'll result.
Jenny has nothing.
I'm looking. He doesn't appear to be, no.
Alright,
All right. Okay, me, I just attended my meetings and everything's kind of quiet right now, so. I have nothing, Dale.
Just attending my meetings, we had a med control meeting today, but it got canceled. Cause I was gonna bring up, I know in a couple of our, board commissioner meetings, we had, Mike Coon was in here, expressing concerns about the ambulance service and response times. And I've had that issue with a couple of townships as well, having those concerns, so I was going to bring it up in the med control meeting today and see where it would go from there. Obviously, I have a meeting today, so I'll bring it up at the next meeting, but yeah, there's some concerns out there.
well, that was something that I was gonna, bring up in December about possibly having a public hearing about the ambulance service. So people could come in, discuss their concerns in the county about, times for ambulance getting to, emergencies and whatnot. So I was actually collecting some data right now on, previous calls and trying to get, an idea from other counties on, just to have a full spectrum of information for you.
Yeah.
And, but that we have to publicize a public hearing, and I was thinking January would probably be a good time.
Right. Yeah, I know, I mean, the concerns are there, and I think part of the issues they're having with staffing and stuff like that, just like everywhere else. Yeah, it's some valid concerns, again, you know, like I told Mike when he was here at the last meeting, that, everything has to kind of circumvent through the med control, they have to approve any of that stuff. Figured, well, we get the ball rolling and see where it goes from there. So. Other than that, that's it.
Oh, I got one thing more. Road commission, I think you guys did a great job for that lady out on Clarola. She called me and was crying, and her husband was screaming in the background, and cause she says Brian was gonna come talk to her, and then I called Brian up and he went out there and they had a resolution, and I thought that was great. how that worked.
Clarosky?
Yeah, Clarosky, yeah.
Yeah, we both talked to her. She was, pretty upset.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah. That actually worked out pretty
I
good.
hear she's very happy now, and, good job.
Thank you.
Well, congratulations on the roundabout.
Thank you.
It's only 100 minutes, okay. Yeah, so I attended the roundabout opening, with others that were there and, well done. I think it's gonna do wonders for us. Kudos to the road commission and all of, the members, everybody that participated. The first person through the roundabout after it was officially open was a Amish lady with 3 kids. So that was just amazing. The only other thing I have is the airport committee continues to meet, obviously. And we have 2 agenda items that are gonna be coming up is the airport rules. And, the airport manager's due to last week. But I'm communicating with Lori and we'll keep your for us out. Okay. All right.
I'm going to Marlene.
Well, I've attended my meetings and I am the commissioner for Reading Township, so I'm anxious to get the official results. I'm sad and okay with whatever happens. So, yeah.
Dave?
I have a short report, I know it's shocking.
I do agree.
You guys, in our meeting schedule with the board meeting, so I the townships. Franklin Township, they approved the creation of a fire specialist at the district. Trying to help pay for the increased fire contract that the city fire department has gone for. They're also looking for bids for crack sealing of their parking lot, and there was a lot of discussion about concerns for the state bills that are going through, you know, the wind, solar, gravel, et cetera, to take over the control. For the community action board, we have board training this month. You came in a little early for that. During the actual meeting itself, we appointed a new Midland County representative, Kathy Bolton, to replace the retired board member, Sharon Such. In Summerfield Township, there was discussion again this month about the renting of the township hall, and the township decided that they would sponsor the annual township Christmas party fee for local residents. That's gonna be early next month. In Hamilton Township, there was discussions about the ARPA funding projects that they've been working on. There were also concerns about the state bill. And they heard from the zoning about a potential new haunted house trail that's gonna be coming hopefully sometime next year to the Mafia House out there. We have people going to come give their presentation on what they feel is gonna be done for their property at the next board meeting that they have. That's all I have.
Thank you. Ben?
My meeting.
Okay.
George?
Been attending my meetings, but we missed voting on an alternate to the Mid-State Health Network meetings. They wanted an alternate member. I've been attending the meetings via Zoom, but they wanted an alternate because some of their people in other areas have not been attending, and it's hard for them to get a quorum. And I had mentioned Joe Phillips had volunteered.
Yeah, and I did look into that, and he is already an alternate.
Okay.
So he is already, he has been, he's been like the one that goes if the board member can't go.
Okay, he wasn't aware of that.
Yeah, it's on the information I got when I got this
Okay.
position, so I'll talk to him about that.
It's his lucky day then, huh?
I just thought we should keep that in mind otherwise. Everything else has been going fine in the townships. Good.
Jack?
Just the townships are all concerned about the assault on local control. That, you know, I get alerts every day, and you guys probably do too, to get a hold of your state rep. Our state rep, our representatives are kind of on board against it, but it's, looks like some of that's going to pass. So anyway, that's it.
Is that correct?
Nope, I wasn't able to attend my airport meeting because of work conflicts, and other than that, I don't know nothing.
Okay. Budget's relatively new right now. Is everything going okay?
It is, everything's going good so far. We did meet with our auditors last week. And, so they're gonna start the audit. So we're collecting information for that, so that's gonna be 2 months in the making, that'll, you know, take some time. Our unaudited amount of our fund balance is about 4.6 million, but our numbers are not done until after the numbers. So we still have some revenue coming in, and I don't know if there wouldn't be much of the expenditures, but, no.
I have a question. What happens, sitting on the finance committee? You know, I've recently seen, what was that, Gabe, a bill from like 2019 or something like that came through that was missed?
Yeah, that was.
How was that reported through all that?
So we have to do it out of this past for this fiscal year, that's how we have to pay it.
If it goes too long, it comes from the year that you get, that we
Yeah,
pay it.
yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, you don't have a choice. But, you know, we just pull it out and go over that with our auditors and,
either that way your budget would never be done, then if you did.
yeah,
a
you
cutoff
can't go
date.
back, you can't go back.
It's not our fault.
No,
Right.
it's not our fault.
I just wonder how that was recorded.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay,
It'll never be the same.
any public comment?
I'm Pat Adams. I do have a hearing loss. I have tinnitus. I've taken attempts to try to correct it. There's certain frequencies that's very hard for me to hear. And this room's been redone for a while now, and they talked about putting microphones so that, because there's a couple people in here that I can hardly hear what they're saying. I try to read their lips and strain to hear what they say. Is there any more updates about when you guys gonna have that in here?
Yeah, it's been in the works for, I don't know, 6 months. So we're just waiting on the equipment and for people to come and get it done.
I hear you.
Checks in the mail.
We're just waiting for that. I do keep checking on it, but
Any other public comment? Okay, unfinished business done, any new business? All right,
Here. Right, you can see me today.
You bring it, Morella.